Before straighting the straw, I want to know what would you do if you were in place and Aslo. Do not forget to like and subscribe to OUR channel Bully Tales. What happens when one impulsive decision to protect a stranger completely destroys the life you've carefully built? A college student stepped between a switchblade and someone's mother without thinking twice. She believed that moment would be the end of it. She couldn't have been more wrong. Because that single act of courage didn't just save a life, it obliterated everything she thought she knew about her own. Welcome to Mystic Tales, beautiful souls. Before we dive in, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Your support fuels these stories and helps us reach more hearts like yours. Now, get comfortable, silence your phone, and let me take you on an unforgettable journey. Trust me when I say this story will leave you absolutely stunned. Now, let's begin. The fluorescent lights in the campus coffee shop flickered as the blade caught their glow. I'm not exaggerating when I say everything happened in the space of a heartbeat. One moment, Chen was wiping down tables in the late-night study cafe where she worked. The next, she was hurling herself between a knife and a woman she'd never seen before in her 23 years of existence. The blade sliced through Maya's palm first, then carved a vicious line across her forearm as she tried to deflect it. White-hot agony exploded through her nervous system, making her vision blur and her knees buckle. She heard shouting, hers, maybe, or the woman's, or the growing crowd of students who'd been cramming for midterms just seconds before. Maya collapsed hard against the coffee bar. Blood spattered across the white counter like some macabre abstract painting. Above her, the woman she'd just protected, an elegant 50-something with silver-streaked black hair and designer clothes that scream "D old money," stared down with wide, shocked eyes that looked almost black in the harsh lighting. The pain was overwhelming. It dragged Maya down into a place where sounds became muffled and the bright cafe lights blurred into shapeless halos. She wanted to apologize for the mess, for causing a scene, for probably getting fired from yet another job she desperately needed. But her tongue felt thick and useless in her mouth. Then there were hands on her face. Cool, steady hands that smelled like expensive lavender perfume. The woman had dropped to her knees beside Maya, cradling her head with unexpected tenderness. "Somebody call 911, the woman shouted in accented English. "And get me clean towels. Now." Maya heard running footsteps, someone sobbing, the clatter of a phone hitting the floor. And then another voice cut through the chaos, young, male, absolutely furious. The guy who burst through the cafe entrance moved like controlled violence. He was maybe 25, tall and athletic with messy brown curls that looked deliberately styled to seem casual. He wore a maroon and white varsity jacket with a big H on the chest over a gray t-shirt, designer jeans, and an expensive watch that probably cost more than Maya's entire tuition. His face was all sharp angles and strong features, and his hazel eyes swept the room with the kind of cold assessment Maya had only seen in movies. His jaw clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping beneath his skin as he took in the scene, his mother on the floor, the blood, Maya bleeding out between them. "Who did this?" His voice was quiet, deadly quiet. The kind of quiet that preceded explosions. The woman spoke rapidly, switching between English and what sounded like Italian. Her hands pressed against Maya's wounded arm, trying to slow the bleeding. The young man's eyes finally landed on Maya's face. For a split second, something flickered in those intense hazel eyes. Confusion, maybe. Like he was trying to figure out what an Asian American girl in a coffee shop uniform was doing bleeding all over his mother. "Who are you?" he demanded, his tone harsh. Maya tried to answer. Tried to explain she was nobody important, just a scholarship student working 3 part-time jobs to stay enrolled, trying to make something of herself. But her mouth wouldn't cooperate. The words came out slurred and wrong. "I'm sorry about the mess. Please don't tell my manager." The guy said something sharp to someone behind him, another student in the same varsity jacket. Then he did something that shocked everyone watching. He dropped to his knees beside Maya and his mother, and despite his obvious fury, his hands were careful as they checked her injuries. "Stay with me," he commanded, and Maya wasn't sure if he was talking to her or his mother. "Nobody's dying in my coffee shop tonight." "Hi. Coffee shop?" The realization barely registered before darkness pulled Maya under. The last thing she saw was the woman's face above her, lips moving in what might have been a prayer. When Maya's eyes opened again, she knew immediately she wasn't in a hospital. Hospitals didn't have floor-to-ceiling windows with views of an entire university campus stretching out below. They didn't have walls covered in vintage movie posters and sports memorabilia, or furniture that looked like it cost more than a semester's tuition. She was in a bed that felt like floating on clouds. The sheets were the softest thing she'd ever felt, and for one confused moment, she wondered if she'd died and this was some kind of weird afterlife. But then the pain registered, a deep, throbbing ache radiating from her hand up through her entire arm. Definitely alive. Someone sat in a chair by the windows, silhouetted against the afternoon light streaming in. He wasn't looking at her, but she knew he was aware she was awake. She could feel the weight of his attention. "You're finally up." The guy from the coffee shop didn't turn from the window. "Good." My mom was starting to freak out. Maya tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Pain lanced through her arm, stealing her breath. Strong hands were suddenly there, steadying her, and she realized he'd crossed the room faster than should have been possible. "Don't move," he said, and it definitely wasn't a suggestion. He adjusted the pillows behind her with surprising gentleness before stepping back. "The doctor said you need to keep still for at least 2 days." The knife went deep. Another half-inch and you would have lost function in your hand permanently. The clinical way he said it sent chills down her spine. This was someone who understood violence intimately. "Where am I?" Her voice came out as barely a whisper. "Safe." He finally turned to look at her fully, and Maya felt the full intensity of his gaze. "You're in my house." "Well, my family's house. On campus. Private doctor treated you, no hospital, no police reports, no paperwork trail." Panic fluttered in Maya's chest. "I need to go to my shift. I have work tonight. And tomorrow. And I have a paper due Monday. I can't just dash." Something that might have been amusement crossed his face. "You literally threw yourself in front of a knife and you're worried about a part-time job and a paper?" "I need that job." Desperation cracked her voice. "I'm on scholarship but it doesn't cover everything. I send money to my little sister back home. She's in high school and our parents can't help much. I can't afford to lose this job. I can't afford any of this." She gestured at the room, at the bandages she could feel wrapped around her hand and arm. "I don't have insurance. I can't pay for a private doctor. I can't dash." "Stop." The single word cut through her rising panic. He moved closer, not quite sitting on the bed but close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes. "You saved my mother's life. Money isn't your concern anymore." Maya stared at him, trying to process words that made no sense. "I don't understand. Who even are you?" "Ethan Morrison." He said it like she should recognize the name. When her face stayed blank, something flickered in his expression. "My family owns half this campus." "The coffee shop where you work?" "Mine." "The student center?" "Mine." "Morrison Hall, Morrison Library, Morrison Athletic Complex?" "All mine. Or will be." "Oh." Maya's stomach dropped. She'd saved the mother of the most notorious guy on campus. Everyone knew about Ethan Morrison, the arrogant rich kid who treated the university like his personal playground, who got away with everything because his family's donations kept the school running. She'd heard stories about how he'd gotten a professor fired for giving him a B. How he'd had a student expelled for spilling coffee on him. How he ran the campus like a dictator, surrounding himself with other rich kids who did whatever he wanted. I really don't understand what's happening, Maya said quietly. You don't need to understand. Not yet. He stood, adjusting his varsity jacket. Rest. Heal. Everything else gets explained when you're stronger. Subscribe reminder, first 1,000 words mark. Hey beautiful souls. If you're loving Maya's story so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next. Now back to the story. Before she could respond, the door opened. The woman from the coffee shop entered carrying a tray, and the sight was so bizarre Maya wondered if she was hallucinating. This elegant woman in expensive clothes was carrying soup like it was the most natural thing in the world. You're awake. The woman's face lit up. She set the tray on the nightstand and reached out to touch Maya's face with cool fingers. How do you feel, Kara? Confused, Maya admitted. And scared. The woman's expression softened. Good. Fear keeps you alive. I'm Isabella Morrison, by the way. She gestured to the soup. Minestrone. My grandmother's recipe. It will help you heal. Maya looked between the elegant woman and her intimidating son. Mrs. Morrison, I appreciate everything you've done, but I really need to go. I have responsibilities. Classes. Work. My sister needs dash. Your sister will be taken care of, Ethan interrupted. I've already had a check sent to your family. Enough to cover her expenses for the year. Maya's blood ran cold. What? You can't just, how do you even know about my sister? Have you been investigating me? Of course I investigated you. He said it like it was obvious. Someone tries to kill my mother and a random girl plays hero? I need to know everything about that girl. Make sure she's not part of it. Part of it? Maya's voice rose. I was just doing my job. I don't know anything about whoever attacked your mom. We know that now, Isabella said gently, settling into the chair her son had vacated. But you must understand, Kara, the men who attacked me won't stop because they failed. You saw their faces. You're a witness. That makes you a liability to them. The words landed like stones in Maya's stomach. They'll come after me. They would, Ethan corrected, if they could find you. But they can't, because as of last night, Maya Chen's digital footprint has been minimized. Your apartment has been cleared out. Your things are here. Your managers have been told you had a family emergency and had to leave town indefinitely. Fury spiked through Maya's fear. You had no right. That's my life. You can't just erase me. I had every right. Ethan's voice went hard. You saved my mother's life. In my family, that creates a debt. And I pay my debts. By making me disappear? By taking away everything I've worked for? By keeping you alive? His control slipped for just a moment, and Maya saw the real fear underneath. Those men are professionals. Assassins. If you go back to your apartment, back to your routine, you'll be dead within a week. Is that what you want? Maya's hands clenched in the expensive sheets. No, but dash. Then you stay here, Isabella said firmly. You stay with us, where we can protect you. Where Ethan and his friends can make sure you're safe. His friends? Maya looked at Ethan. You mean those guys in matching jackets who follow you around? The ones who dash, she stopped, remembering the stories she'd heard. The campus security that looked the other way. The mysterious incidents that happened to anyone who crossed Ethan Morrison. Who what? Ethan's expression was unreadable. Nothing, Maya said quietly. She wasn't stupid. She knew what kind of person he was supposed to be. Rich, entitled, used to getting his way through intimidation and money. Someone who treated people like possessions. But he'd also dropped to his knees in a coffee shop full of witnesses to help her. And his mother was looking at her with genuine concern. "I'm not a prisoner here?" Maya asked carefully. "No," Ethan said. But then he paused. "But you're not free to leave either. Not until we've handled the threat. Not until it's safe." "And when will that be?" He didn't answer. The silence stretched between them, heavy with implications. Isabella stood, smoothing her dress. "Eat. Rest. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges." She paused at the door, looking back at Maya with an expression that was equal parts gentle and fierce. "You have a brave heart, cara mia. Never lose that." Then she was gone, leaving Maya alone with Ethan and a bowl of soup she wasn't sure she could stomach. The silence was suffocating. Ethan returned to his post by the window, and Maya studied his reflection in the glass. Despite his reputation as a campus bully who got everything he wanted, right now he just looked like a guy carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. "Why did you do it?" he asked suddenly, his reflection's eyes meeting hers in the glass. "Do what?" "Jump in front of a knife for someone you didn't know." Maya didn't have a good answer. Or maybe she did, but it was too honest, too raw to share with someone like him. "I didn't think about it. I just moved. Instinct." He turned to face her. "That's interesting. Most people's instincts tell them to run from danger, not toward it. Maybe I have terrible instincts. Or exceptional ones." He crossed his arms, studying her intently. "My mother's right about you. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. I haven't decided which yet. Does it matter?" "Yeah." His expression grew serious. "Because one of those gets you killed. And I don't need that on my conscience." "Why would it be on your conscience?" "I made the choice. Because now you're my responsibility." He moved toward the door. "The soup's good. Mom made it herself, which she hasn't done in years. I'd eat it if I were you. She'll be offended if you don't." "Is that a threat?" The ghost of a smile touched his lips. "An observation. Get some rest, Maya Chen. Tomorrow things get complicated." He left, and Maya was finally alone with her thoughts and the cooling soup. She stared at it for a long moment before carefully reaching for it with her good hand. The first sip was rich and comforting, the kind of food that spoke of care and love and traditions passed down through generations. She was halfway through the bowl when exhaustion crashed over her. Her eyes grew heavy, and she set the soup aside, sinking back into the pillows. One thought circled her mind as she drifted toward sleep: her life as she knew it was over, and she had no idea what would take its place. She'd gone from a struggling scholarship student to, what? A prisoner? A protected witness? A debt to be paid? Morning came with sunlight streaming through those massive windows and a young woman standing at the foot of Maya's bed holding a garment bag. "You're awake," the woman said in English with a thick accent. She was maybe 25, stylish in a way that screamed money. "Good. I'm Lucia. I work for the Morrison family. Mrs. Morrison sent me to bring you clothes and help you shower." Maya struggled to sit up, wincing. "I can shower myself." Lucia's expression said she'd heard that before and didn't believe it. "Sure. With one hand and stitches you can't get wet and a bathroom you've never seen. Come on, unless you want Ethan to help instead." The thought of Ethan Morrison seeing her vulnerable like that was enough to get Maya moving. With Lucia's help, she made it to the bathroom, which was larger than her entire former apartment and had a shower with multiple heads and a bathtub that could fit 4 people. Lucia was efficient and surprisingly gentle, helping Maya navigate washing without getting her bandages wet. She didn't make small talk, didn't pry, just did her job with professional distance. "You're the one who saved Mrs. Morrison," Lucia said as she helped Maya dry off. "It wasn't a question. Everyone's talking about it. The scholarship student who took a knife for the boss's mom." "The boss?" Lucia's eyes were unreadable. "That's what we call Ethan. The boss. Because that's what he is, he runs things around here, even if he's still in school." "What kind of things?" "Better if you don't ask." Lucia helped her into a plush robe. "Some people think you're brave. Some think you're stupid. Some think you saw an opportunity to get close to power. And what do you think?" Lucia paused, considering. "I think you probably didn't think at all. Which makes you either the luckiest or unluckiest girl on campus." She gestured toward the bedroom. "Come on. Mrs. Morrison wants to see you for breakfast." Back in the bedroom, Lucia had laid out clothes on the bed. Not the cheap fast fashion Maya was used to, but real designer pieces, a soft sweater in deep burgundy, dark jeans that looked like they'd fit perfectly, boots that were probably Italian leather. "I can't wear these," Maya protested. "They're too expensive." "They're yours now. Everything in that closet is." Lucia gestured to a walk-in closet Maya hadn't noticed before. Through the open door, she could see racks of clothes, shelves of shoes, more luxury than Maya had seen in her entire life. "Why is he doing all this?" Lucia's expression softened slightly. "Because in his world, debts must be paid. And you saved his mother's life. That's not a small debt." She handed Maya the sweater. "Get dressed. 20 minutes." 20 minutes later, Maya found herself in a dining room that looked like something from a mansion tour. The table could have seated 30 people easily, but only 2 places were set side by side near one end. Isabella sat in one, looking elegant in a pale blue dress. She smiled when Maya entered. "Come, sit, Kara." She patted the chair beside her. "How are you feeling?" "Like I got stabbed," Maya said without thinking, then immediately regretted it. But Isabella just laughed, a warm, genuine sound. "Honest. I like that." She began serving food onto Maya's plate, an array of breakfast dishes that made Maya's stomach growl despite her anxiety. They ate in silence for a few minutes. The food was delicious, and Maya found herself relaxing slightly. "You're wondering why we're treating you like family instead of like a witness," Isabella said finally. Maya set down her fork. "Yes. The answer is simple. You showed loyalty and courage when you had no reason to. You were a stranger, but you protected me anyway. Without hesitation. Without thinking of your own safety." She reached over and squeezed Maya's good hand. "That kind of selflessness is rare. That kind of heart is precious. I'm not special. I just reacted. And that's what makes you special." Isabella's expression grew more serious. "My son wants to protect you until the danger passes. But I think we both know the danger won't pass." "Not really. These people have long memories." Fear curled in Maya's stomach. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying you need more than protection. You need family. Real family that stands by you no matter what." Isabella's eyes grew misty. "I lost my daughter 10 years ago. A car accident when she was just 20. Since then, this house has felt empty, despite all the people in it. But when I saw you throw yourself in front of that knife, when I saw your courage, I saw her. I saw the daughter I lost." Maya's throat tightened. "Mrs. Morrison, I'm so sorry for your loss, but I don't understand what you're saying." "I'm saying I want you to be part of this family. Not as a guest, not as someone under protection, but as my daughter." She cupped Maya's face with both hands. "I want to make you a Morrison. Officially. Legally. In every way that matters. The words hung in the air, impossible and overwhelming. Adoption? You want to adopt me? I'm 23 years old. Age doesn't matter. What matters is the bond, the loyalty, the love. Isabella's eyes were earnest. You saved my life, Kara. You have no real family of your own, just a struggling sister and parents who can't help. Let me give you mine. Before Maya could respond, the dining room doors opened. Ethan entered, and the energy shifted immediately. He'd changed into a fresh outfit, dark jeans, a black Henley that emphasized his athletic build, and expensive sneakers. His hair was still messy in that deliberately styled way. He said, his tone carrying a warning. We talked about this. And I ignored you, as I often do. Isabella smiled serenely. Sit. Eat. We have much to discuss. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he sat. He didn't reach for any food, just fixed Maya with an intense look. How are you feeling? Confused, she admitted. Your mother just said something about adoption. Did she? His voice was flat, and the look he shot his mother could have frozen water. Isabella ignored him completely. Kara, I know this is overwhelming. But think about what this would mean. As my daughter, you'd be untouchable. Those assassins couldn't touch you without starting a war. You'd have resources, protection, a family that would stand by you. This is insane, Maya said, looking to Ethan for support. But his expression was unreadable. It's strategic, Isabella continued. But it's also real. I meant what I said. I want you to be my daughter. Not because of obligation, but because my heart tells me you already are. Maya pushed back from the table. I can't just become part of your family. I don't even know you. Then learn, Isabella said simply. Stay. Get to know us. If after a month you still want to leave, I'll let you go with enough money to finish your degree and start over anywhere in the world. But give us a chance. Ethan finally spoke, his voice quiet. If you refuse, I'll still protect you. I'll find another way. But Mom's right about one thing, as family, you'd be safer than any other arrangement I could make. Maya looked between them. I need time. I need to think. You have until tonight, Isabella said firmly. Those assassins will be looking for you by now. The longer we wait, the more dangerous this becomes. You want me to decide about being adopted by tonight? I want you to decide if you want to live as someone alone and vulnerable, or as someone with a family that would burn this entire campus down to keep you safe. Isabella's voice softened. Now this is terrifying, Kara. But sometimes the only way forward is through the impossible. Ethan stood, moving to the windows. If you agree, we'll make it legal. Papers, documentation, everything official. No one will question it. And if I say no? Then I find another way to protect you. His reflection met her eyes in the glass. But it won't be as secure. The choice is yours, Maya. It always has been. Isabella stood, smoothing her dress. I'll leave you two to talk. Maya, whatever you decide, know that I'm grateful. You saved my life. That's not something I'll ever forget. She paused at the door. Ethan, be kind. She's earned that much. Then she was gone, and Maya was alone with the guy who might become her brother. The silence stretched between them, awkward and heavy. Ethan poured coffee with steady hands, sliding a cup across to Maya. She took it automatically, grateful for something to do with her shaking hands. You can say no, he said finally. If you refuse, I'll find another way to protect you. It won't be as effective, but I'll try. Why? Maya looked up at him. Why do you care? I'm nobody to you. You're the girl who saved my mother's life without thinking twice. That makes you somebody. He took a sip of his coffee. And despite what the campus gossip says about me, I'm not a complete monster. I don't want your death on my conscience because I failed to protect you. But you're okay with trapping me in your world? No. His answer was immediate and honest. I hate it. But I hate the idea of you dying more. So if I have to choose between your freedom and your life, I choose your life. Even if you end up hating me for it. Maya studied him over her coffee cup. He looked exhausted, she realized. Not just tired, but worn down in a way that went deeper than lack of sleep. If I agree, she said slowly, what would this actually look like? Would I have to do anything illegal? No. He understood immediately. You'd be family, but that doesn't mean you'd be involved in business. You'd have your own life, your own choices. Mom would want you to live here for a while, for safety. But eventually you could do whatever you wanted. Finish your degree, go to grad school, get a job. Anything. Until when? Until it's safe for you to leave, if you still want to. He paused. Or forever, if you decide you want a family more than independence. The honesty was somehow worse than lies would have been. Maya set down her coffee cup before she dropped it. What about my sister? She thinks I'm working my way through college honestly. How do I explain this? Ethan's expression shifted slightly. You tell her the truth, that you met a family who wants to help. That you'll be sending more money than before. That you're safe and happy. He paused. It's not a lie if you choose to make it true. Maya closed her eyes, trying to think through the fog of shock and fear. Every option was terrible. Every choice led to pain. But at least one choice led to being alive to feel that pain. And maybe, just maybe, led to having something she'd always wanted but never admitted, a real family. If I do this, she said slowly, opening her eyes. I need your word on something. Name it. My sister gets taken care of. Not just money, real security. Her education, everything. She doesn't suffer because of a choice I made. Done. He didn't hesitate. I'll set up a trust fund. She'll never want for anything. And when this ends, if I decide to leave, you let me go. No conditions. I walk away with enough to start over. Agreed. He leaned forward. Anything else? Maya thought about it. Just one more thing. Don't lie to me. Whatever happens, whatever danger we're in, don't treat me like a child who can't handle the truth. I deserve to know what I'm walking into. Something shifted in Ethan's expression, a flash of what looked like respect. That I can promise. He extended his hand across the table. So is that a yes? Maya stared at his hand, at the calluses that spoke of someone who worked out religiously, who maybe knew how to handle himself in a fight. This was it. The moment where her life split into before and after. She reached out and took his hand. His grip was warm, steady, surprisingly gentle. It's a yes, she whispered. God help me, it's a yes. The next 6 hours passed in a blur that felt more like a fever dream than reality. Lawyers appeared with documents to sign. Isabella explained they were expediting the process through connections Maya didn't want to think too hard about. Lucia appeared again with more clothes, helping Maya dress in something appropriate for a family gathering, tailored pants, a silk blouse, and a blazer that probably cost more than Maya's entire former wardrobe. You look terrified, Lucia observed as she fixed Maya's hair. I am terrified. I'm about to become part of a family I don't understand. Lucia's expression softened. The Morrisons are complicated. But they're loyal. If they claim you as family, they mean it. They'll protect you with everything they have. That's what scares me. What I might have to become to fit into their world. You don't have to become anything, Lucia said quietly. Just be yourself. That's what Mrs. Morrison saw in you. That's what she wants to keep. The gathering was held in the estate's main living room, a space large enough to host 100 people comfortably. Maybe 40 people were there, all of them dressed formally, all of them watching Maya with varying degrees of curiosity and suspicion. Isabella stood at the front of the room with Ethan beside her. When Maya entered, guided by Lucia, every eye turned to her. Maya's heart hammered, but she forced herself to walk forward with her head high. Isabella reached out and took her hand, pulling her close. Family, she announced in English, then repeated in Italian. Today we welcome a new daughter. Maya Chen showed courage beyond measure when she saved my life. She asked for nothing in return. But I am giving her everything. From this day forward, she is Maya Morrison, my daughter, your sister, your family. Anyone who harms her answers to me. The words were simple, but the weight behind them was enormous. Maya felt it in the way people's expressions shifted, some nodding with respect, others looking calculating or resentful. Ethan stepped forward then. Welcome to the family, Sorelina. Little sister. He said it simply, but there was weight in the word. Then he did something that shocked the room, he pulled her into a brief hug, careful of her injured arm. Anyone touches you, they answer to me. The rest of the gathering was a whirlwind of introductions. People approached to offer congratulations or assess this new addition to the Morrison family. Some were warm. Others were cold. And a few were openly hostile. An older man approached near the end, his expression disapproving. He spoke in rapid Italian to Isabella, his tone challenging. Maya didn't understand the words, but she understood the hostility. Isabella's response was swift and sharp. Then she turned to Maya. Uncle Vittorio thinks you're not worthy of this family. He thinks saving my life was an act to manipulate us. What do you say to that? Maya's first instinct was to apologize, to back down. But then she remembered what Isabella had said about strength. She turned to face Uncle Vittorio directly. I say that I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't throw myself in front of that knife because I wanted something. I did it because it was the right thing to do. She held his gaze. If that makes me unworthy in your eyes, then I don't care about your standards. The room went silent. Uncle Vittorio's face flushed with anger. But before he could respond, Ethan stepped forward. My sister is right. She acted with honor when she had no reason to. That's worth more than your approval. He fixed the older man with a look that could cut glass. If you have a problem with her place in this family, you have a problem with me. Uncle Vittorio backed down, but the hatred in his eyes remained. After the gathering, Isabella walked Maya back to her room. They moved through quiet corridors, and Maya felt the weight of everything that had just happened settling on her shoulders. You did well today, Isabella said softly. You showed strength. That's important in our world. Your uncle hates me. Vittorio hates change. But he won't move against you. Not while Ethan and I are alive. She paused at Maya's door. Get some rest, Kara. Tomorrow we begin your real education. Education in what? In surviving in our world. In understanding what it means to be a Morrison. Isabella's expression grew serious. And in learning how to protect yourself. That night, Maya lay in bed thinking about everything that had happened. In just days, she'd gone from a struggling college student to a member of one of the most powerful families on campus. She'd faced death and come out the other side. She'd found a mother and a brother she never expected to have. It should have felt impossible. It should have felt wrong. And in some ways, it did. But it also felt like maybe, just maybe, she'd found something she'd been missing her whole life, a real family that would stand by her no matter what. A soft knock came at the door. Come in, she called. Ethan entered, carrying a tray with tea. He'd changed into sweats and a t-shirt, looking more relaxed than she'd seen him. "Thought you might need this," he said, setting the tray down. "Big day." "That's an understatement." He sat in the chair across from her. "Uncle Vittorio will try to cause problems. But he won't succeed. Not while I'm watching." "Why are you doing all this?" "Really?" Ethan was quiet for a long moment. "Because my mom lost her daughter 10 years ago, and she's never been the same. Because you saved her life without thinking twice. And because..." He paused. "Because I'm tired of being the bad guy everyone thinks I am. Maybe having a sister who actually has a conscience will make me better." "You're not as bad as people say." "I'm worse," he said flatly. "But maybe I don't have to be forever." He met her eyes. "You make me want to be better, Maya. Don't ask me why. You just do." Maya didn't know what to say to that. So she said the only thing that felt true, "Then be better. Not for me. For yourself." He smiled slightly. "Get some rest, Sorellina. Tomorrow the real work begins." Over the next 6 months, Maya learned what it really meant to be a Morrison. She attended classes during the day, but her evenings were filled with lessons of a different kind. Self-defense training with Ethan and his friends. Strategy sessions with Isabella about reading people and situations. Language lessons, Italian, because a Morrison should speak the family language. She learned that the Morrisons weren't just rich, they were powerful in ways that went far beyond money. They had connections everywhere, from local politics to international business. And yes, some of those connections were questionable. But Isabella insisted that the family did more good than harm. "We protect our own," Isabella explained one evening. "We help our community. We give scholarships, fund hospitals, support local businesses. Yes, we have power. But we use it to protect those who can't protect themselves." Maya saw it was true. The Morrisons might have a dark reputation, but they also genuinely helped people. Ethan personally funded scholarships for underprivileged students. Isabella ran programs for domestic violence victims. The family's reach extended into genuinely good causes. But there were still problems. Still threats. Uncle Vittorio continued to scheme, trying to undermine Maya's position. The assassins who targeted Isabella were still out there, and occasionally there were new threats. Ethan was always there, watching, protecting. He took his role as her brother seriously, maybe too seriously. He scared off guys who tried to ask Maya out, intimidated professors who gave her a hard time, and generally made himself a constant presence in her life. "You're being overprotective," Maya told him one day after he'd had a talk with a guy from her study group who'd asked for her number. "I'm being appropriately protective," he countered. "That guy's a creep. I did you a favor." He was just being friendly. Nobody's just friendly with a Morrison. They all want something. His expression was serious. "I know you want to be normal, Maya. But you're not anymore. The sooner you accept that, the safer you'll be." It was frustrating. But it was also kind of nice, having someone care that much. Having a family that put her first. Maya's sister came to visit once, and her eyes went wide at the estate. "Maya, what is all this? How did you end up here?" "It's complicated," Maya said. "But I'm safe. I'm happy. And I'm making sure you have everything you need." Her sister hugged her tightly. "I don't care about the money. I just want to make sure you're okay." "I am. I really am." And the strange thing was, it was true. Against all odds, Maya had found a place where she belonged. Isabella treated her like a true daughter, including her in everything from family dinners to business decisions. Ethan had become more than just a protective older brother, he'd Come a real friend, someone she could talk to about anything. 6 months in, on the anniversary of her adoption, Isabella threw a party. Not a stuffy formal affair, but a real celebration with music and dancing and laughter. Ethan found Maya on the terrace late in the evening, looking out at the campus below. "You did it, Sorelina," he said, coming to stand beside her. "You changed everything." "We did it," Maya corrected. "This is your family too." "Yeah, but you made it better. You made us better." He paused. "I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. The campus bully everyone was afraid of, that's not who I want to be anymore. And that's because of you. I didn't do anything special. You did everything that mattered." He turned to look at her, his expression sincere. "You showed up when Mom needed you. You gave us a second chance. You made us believe we could be more than our reputation." He smiled. "That's pretty damn special, Maya." Maya's throat tightened with emotion. "Thank you. For taking me in. For making me part of this family. For giving me something I never knew I needed." Ethan pulled her into a hug. "Thank you for saving my mom. For giving her back her daughter. For making this house feel like home again." They stood there together, brother and sister by choice rather than blood, looking out at the world that had tried to destroy them both and that they'd survived together. Isabella found them like that and smiled. "My beautiful children. I am so proud of you both." She joined them, wrapping her arms around both of them. And in that moment, Maya knew she'd made the right choice. All those months ago, when she'd thrown herself in front of a knife without thinking, she'd changed her entire life. But she'd also found her family. And that was worth everything. The end. Moral of the story. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is act on compassion without calculating the cost. Maya didn't throw herself in front of that knife because she expected a reward. She did it because someone needed help and she could provide it. That one selfless act didn't just save a life, it transformed an entire family. It gave Isabella back the daughter she'd lost. It gave Ethan a reason to want to be better than his reputation. And it gave Maya herself the family she'd always craved. The story teaches us that people can change when given a reason. And support. Ethan wasn't inherently evil, he was a guy shaped by privilege and expectations, doing things he thought he had to do. But when someone believed he could be better, he found the courage to try. It also shows us the power of chosen family. Maya had no family of her own, but she found one in the most unexpected place. And that family gave her the strength to be brave, to stand up for what was right, to help others be better. Most importantly, the story reminds us that our choices matter. Every day we make decisions that ripple outward, affecting not just ourselves but everyone around us. Will we choose compassion or indifference? Will we act when we see someone in need, or will we look away? Will we believe people can change, or will we write them off? Maya chose compassion. She chose to act. She chose to believe in redemption. And those choices changed everything. That's the real power we all have, not money or influence or status, but the power to choose kindness, to choose courage, to choose to believe in the possibility of change. And sometimes, that's enough to transform the world around us. Thank you so much for staying with Maya's incredible journey from beginning to end. If this story moved you, if it made you believe in second chances and the power of chosen family, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. I love hearing from viewers all around the world. And tell me, what would you have done in Maya's situation? Would you have taken that knife? Let's talk about it in the comments. Until next time, keep believing in the power of kindness and never underestimate what one brave choice can do.